Recorded Books and One Click Digital present The Family Jensen, Brotherhood of Evil by William W. Johnstone with J. A. Johnstone. Narrated by Jack Garrett. Book 1. Chapter 1. Bitter, cold rain sluiced down from gray, leaden skies, turning the single street of Espantosa, New Mexico territory, into a muddy bog. It was the middle of the afternoon, but the thick overcast made it seem more like twilight. No one was out and about, except one man, who muttered curses under his breath as he attempted to run up the street. The mud kept trying to suck the boots off his feet, so his run was more of a stumble. Petey Tomlin was plumb miserable. He wore an old slicker, but it leaked in several places. Even if it hadn't, pounding rain always found a way to work itself inside a man's duds and make him wet and uncomfortable. In less than a block, Tomlin felt like he was soaked to the skin. Water ran in a steady stream from the brim of his battered old hat and made it difficult for him to see where he was going. He kept his eyes on the yellow glow up ahead that marked the front windows of the Gilt Edge Saloon. That was his destination. He carried important news for the men who waited there. Espantosa didn't have boardwalks along the 2 blocks of its business district. Most of the establishments opened directly onto the street. A few, like the Gilt Edge, had covered porches, but that didn't help Tomlin stay out of the rain. He could dry off and warm up later, he told himself, once he'd let Jack Shawcross know what he had seen at the livery stable down the street. Shawcross had sent him to the stable to check on the horses, or so he'd claimed. Tomlin thought Shawcross had done it mostly to make him miserable. He got mean like that sometimes, especially when he'd been putting away the booze. He and the rest of the bunch had been in the Gilt Edge all afternoon, drinking and playing cards, and taking turns going upstairs with the saloon's lone bar girl. Tomlin hadn't been up there with her yet. He was usually one of the last for anything good, and the first for any unpleasant job, like going out in the rain. He would have to wait even longer for female companionship. He knew his boss would want to deal right away with what he'd discovered at the livery stable. Maybe Shawcross would be feeling generous after that. He might even toss Tomlin an extra double eagle in appreciation for what he'd done. He reached the steps leading up to the saloon's porch and climbed them, stomping to knock some of the mud off his boots, but the blasted stuff was just too thick and sticky. At that time of year, the bat wings were fastened back on either side of closed double doors. He grasped the right-hand doorknob, opened it, and stepped into the welcome warmth coming from a pot-bellied stove in the corner. "Stop right there," bellowed Ben Gormley, the craggy-faced bartender and the saloon's owner. "Don't come tracking all that mud in here. Go outside and take them boots off." The little outlaw ignored the man who stood behind the bar and scuttled across the room toward the round, baize-covered table where Jack Shawcross was playing poker with 4 members of the gang. 3 more men were at the bar, nursing mugs of beer. The 9 Owlhoots were the only people in the Gilt Edge's main room, other than the owner. "Damn it," Gormley said as he started out from behind the bar. "I told you." He stopped instantly and shut up as Shawcross lifted a hand. "Petey wouldn't be hurrying like that if he didn't have something important to tell us," the outlaw boss said. "Sorry, Jack," Gormley muttered as he retreated behind the hardwood again. The outlaws spent freely and generally behaved themselves in Espantosa, which they had adopted as their unofficial headquarters. Nobody wanted to get on their bad side, which, according to their reputation, was very bad indeed.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.